Welcome to The Gavel, your weekly Denver City Council wrap-up. Here's what happened this week. On Tuesday, January 9th, the Finance Committee heard a briefing from Denver Health on their funding sources and challenges. Denver Health relies on federal, state, and city governments for some of their funding. The city provides funding to support preventative, acute, and chronic health care, as well as $230 million for construction improvements on campus. The city's total funding to Denver Health has increased over the years, mainly to provide care for the community needs that wouldn't be covered if that money was not available. However, funding to help cover the cost of serving those who don't have the ability to pay has not increased over the past 15 years, creating a budget shortfall.
There are uncompensated care costs coming from patients that are housed or belong to the city and county of Denver, as well as those that are coming from outside the city and county of Denver. And while the proportions of each of those groups haven't changed since 2018, you'll notice that the number at the top of each of these bar graphs has significantly jumped.
As the only safety net hospital in the state, Denver Health won't turn anyone away from their emergency room, including people with no insurance or who can't pay.
Which requires us to take anybody who comes into our emergency room, regardless of where they live, by county, by state, or by country. Whether they are of different ethnic groups or other gender definitions, we see patients regardless of who they are.
Also on January 9th, the Land Use Committee heard a briefing on the zoning process of land being used for emergency sheltering. As part of Mayor Johnston's plan to move 1,000 people indoors by the end of 2023, the administration has opened micro-community sites and purchased hotels throughout the city. Council members were presented with information on the city's process and rules regarding these new sites. Each new micro-community or hotel has to go through either a permitting or rezoning process before housing people. A permit can be issued when use is allowed under the current zoning laws, like a change from a hotel to a shelter use. A rezoning takes place when a new use is prohibited under current zoning laws. Rezonings are more in-depth and can take 3 to 6 months. The city suspended some zoning rules temporarily, like the minimum density limits and reduction in public notice periods.
And in those code updates, we have the section cited here that allows a suspension of rules and procedural steps in case of a qualifying emergency. And guess where we learned we needed this type of authority? Our ever-increasing numbers of persons who are homeless and our decreasing and dwindling supply of shelter beds.
In 2023, Denver's House 1000 initiative has moved over 1,000 people inside, supported by 6 leased or purchased hotels. You can find links to City Council meetings, schedules, agendas, events, and news at denvergov.org/citycouncil. Denver City Council meets every Monday at 3:30 at the City and County Building Council Chambers, or tune in live on Denver 8 or Zoom. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube for Denver news, events, and information.